Welcome back to the show. Last week, July 8th, a flash flood swept through the Riverview RV Park in Ruidoso, New Mexico. With deadly results, 2 children were killed, ages 4 and 7, and an adult man. A heavy monsoon rain had fallen earlier that day. Well, a China Spring couple, Rod and Jean Downing, and their mini Aussie kit were camping along the river, and they were rescued from the flood. And so we have Rod Downing here with us. And Rod, full disclosure, we've been friends for a very long time. Yep. And Jean let us know that afternoon what had happened. You were in your beautiful travel trailer, your fifth wheel. And what she let us know is that it had been totaled. Your truck was totally gone, but y'all were okay.
Yes, yes.
As okay as you can be when you realize a flash flood has just gone through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this was in the afternoon, right? And so
Yes.
how were you notified first that there was disaster?
Well, we had received an alert from the National Weather Service about midday that there for another flash flood warning, which that type of warning was going out daily. And so we would watch the river there behind our camper. And so it would come up to the edge of the bank usually and then go back down again.
Mm-hmm.
And we had seen that on Monday, and it had happened the day before we got there. And it had been happening kind of on a regular basis, but it had not in the type of the heavy storm that had happened in the mountains upstream that fed the river that was the drainage.
That caused, and it was just a massive flow
of
of water. According to the village of Ruidoso, the flash flood happened when the heavy rains fell on burn scar. Apparently there had been last year some major fires, the South Fork and Salt fires. And because of the terrain is why when that heavy monsoon rain fell, this almost like a wall of water came through.
Yes. Yeah.
And this was in the middle of the afternoon.
Yes.
Not in the middle of the night.
No. And it could have been much worse if it was in the night,
Right.
Where everybody would have been settled in their RVs and it would have been much different result.
So someone came and knocked on your door, or you saw things were happening, or what happened?
We were inside, but I was just watching everyone outside. And the owner, he and his wife of the RV park, and the host Jerry, they were out there at the river, basically right very near our camper, and they were just watching as it would come through. There would normally be a large flow of debris and water, like almost like a head wall of water coming down. That would be a couple of feet deep. And this time it was much, much larger.
And faster, I would presume.
And much faster. And then within just a couple of minutes of that, I would guess, it actually went from a 20-foot river to about a 200-yard wide river. And it was at our camper and out right in front of us, as you look toward the street, it would probably be about 3 feet deep instantly, and very fast, and a large amount of debris, lumber, trees, limbs, everything floating down, and pieces of houses and things.
I presume you've never been through anything like this before.
No.
It carried your trailer and kind of wedged it with some trees. Is that what happened?
Well, the trailer beside us was a bumper pull trailer, and it started sliding sideways because we were sideways to the flow of the river and the flood, and so it caught us kind of broadside, and so it just started shifting that bumper pull trailer and it pushed up against us to the point we could not get out our door. And so then we just had a couple of windows that were of excess that we could get out if we had to get out. And then it started moving our trailer, and it was leaning some, and we really kind of thought it might go over, but then it stopped, and we didn't really know what it stopped or what stopped it, and until we got out of it, and it was a couple of cottonwood trees that kind of fit perfect to our trailer and wouldn't let it go any farther.
Yeah. So a big transport, like a military transport, came to pick you up?
Yeah, we've been looking for a photo of that truck, and we can't find
one,
it
but
yet.
with the giant wheels, I can imagine what it looks like.
Yeah, it was a really large piece of equipment.
Yeah. Of course, you had your little dog with you, Kid, and you were able to rescue her too. I mean, that was I really don't know the official timeline of how long the flood lasted. It seemed like it lasted an eternity to us. Yeah.
But it finally started going down to where it slowed down, and then the depth of the water went down some. And so I had been calling 911 to make sure they knew that we were in the trailer in the back of the campground. And because a lot of people, I think, had been able to get out, were closer to the street, and they had gotten out. And so I called 911 2 or 3 times. And then I found a window near the front of our trailer, and I opened it and took the screen off. And I had a straw hat, and I stuck my head out and was waving the straw hat, trying to make sure that somebody knew that there was somebody else back there in the campground.
And that's the window you exited?
And that's actually the window we exited.
Yeah, because the door was wedged shut. You were just covered in mud, though, the way you told us, because you had to go through.
Well, and by the time we got down from there, and the firemen were there, and they helped us. They helped us get out, and they took Kit and carried her over to the truck. It was only about knee deep for that in that section. It was only it had already gone down a lot, because I think at one time it was probably between 4 and 5 feet deep.
Wow.
You know, right there close to us, and it would have been pretty hard to
get
through
that. Yeah, without being swept away. Tragically, the couple and their 2 children were next to you, were the ones who lost their kids.
Yes, in that trailer that I mentioned, and I had thought that they had gotten away. I thought that I saw them get in their truck and drive away, but apparently they decided to go back or stay in the trailer. And, or, you know, it may have been that the water caught that truck and moved it, you know.
Well, and so your truck was just gone.
Yeah.
And ended up in 2 pieces when you saw it.
Virtually 2 pieces.
Wow.
It's, bent in half. And it's actually partially sitting on top of that family's truck. But they both landed in the same area of the riverbed.
Yeah.
And,
well, it is just remarkable, and we're also grateful to God that you were saved. But our hearts are breaking for the lives that were lost that day that you were right there with, and obviously in Texas, in what's happened in the Hill Country, and then the massive loss of life. But you did see firsthand just the power and how fast something like that can happen.
Yes, yes, I did. Yeah.
Well, we're so grateful, but I think you have some information what I saw, I didn't have any names of the victims of this, but the children were in the Trotter family.
Yes. And they were from El Paso.
Oh.
And it's my understanding that Mrs. Trotter's brother, I think, helped organize a GoFundMe drive. And so they're raising money to help with the medical expenses and the funeral expenses of the children, and to also help with the rehabilitation and everything as Mr. Trotter is recovering, because apparently according to the article on this account, that he's already had to undergo some surgery, so he has to go through rehabilitation.
And because
get back
he
to work.
ingested this water, is that what happened? Or?
Yes, as apparently they were in the trailer, and when the trailer collapsed, the water pulled them out of the trailer, and with nothing really to hold on to, and so he was swept down, and I don't know 100% for sure, but I had just met him right before this storm, right before this, just a few minutes before the flood. And and when we got in the truck, I'm pretty sure it was him sitting in the truck, and he had been in the water the entire time, up to his chin, and he couldn't speak. It was so hypothermic, and I can attest that the water was extremely cold.
Yeah.
And
oh, what an experience. Rod, thank you so much for being willing to share this experience with us. I know that we're just grateful that you were spared, that your lives were spared that day, and you got to experience really firsthand the Red Cross and the shelter. I mean, everything that was set up for victims, and how quickly things are mobilized to help in a disaster like this.
Yeah. They dropped the fire truck, the rescue truck dropped us. They had closed the street, Sutter Boulevard, and they dropped us in front of a physical therapy clinic. And the ladies from that clinic were in the parking lot, and they became kind of a first aid station. Yeah. And it could not have been a more graceful group of ladies, and that they were so helpful, and they really helped my wife, and I, and so that kind of slowed our hearts down a little bit. Yeah. And then they took us to the Ruidoso Community Center, which is where they set up the Red Cross shelter.
Well, it's just a remarkable story, Rod. Thank you so much for sharing it with us today.
Well, thank
we'll
you.
Continue praying for you as you continue to recover from it. Was a traumatic thing for sure.
Yes. Yeah. Really was.
Well, stay with us. When we return, Susan Cowley joins me with the very latest on the amazing work of the Talitha Koum Institute.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Pill, pour, blend, and enjoy. All within the comfort of my own home.
Revive Superfood Smoothies. Peel, blend, and enjoy. Fast and easy. Outdoor.
Hi, and welcome back to the show. I am so excited to have Susan Cowley here today. I can't believe it's been so many years since we've had a chance to sit and visit, and I'm delighted that you can be on the relatively new Ann Harder show.
Oh, thank you.
But Susan, I've been knowing you a long time, and your work with Talitha Koum Institute is such an inspiration to so many people. I mean, this has been your heart and soul for, well, since before it even really got started, in 1998, I think.
Right. Yes.
And the wheels started moving in 99. But for people that don't know what that is.
Right. And many don't.
Right.
I'll tell you.
It's Aramaic.
Many
First
don't.
of all, it's
Yes.
a biblical phrase that Jesus
It is.
used.
In the book
Tell
of-
them about that.
Book of Mark, Jesus is called on by Jairus to save his daughter, who's 12, and she's dying. And as Jesus often does, he's not in a hurry, so he stops to heal someone else. By the time he gets to Jairus' home, she's dead, and everybody outside says, she's dead, you don't need to go in. And it's one of the only places in Scripture where Jesus says, I'm going in, and they laughed at him. So he goes in, he stands over her with her parents, and he says, Talitha Koum, my child, rise up. And she sat up, and he said the most interesting thing, get her something to eat. And that's incredibly true. If you've been dead, you need sugar. So he says, get her something to eat. And nutrition is just such a big thing these days. So at Talitha Koum, nutrition is high on our list, and so is raising up children, young children, birth to 5.
I love this. On your website, it says building brains one child at a time. Mm-hmm. And so when this all kind of got started, it was through I believe the church that
Yes.
you were involved with at the time, Cross Ties Ecumenical Church.
And we are still a church.
Still a church.
And still involved. Yes. In fact, 3 of the 4 founders from 7 years ago are still involved. Yeah.
And what you saw was a need. And it
Yes.
was kind of centered around the Kate Ross apartments
Yes.
and children that were obviously at risk because of poverty, but so many other things. Trauma seems to play a big role in the work you do. Explain how that all works.
It does. And poverty itself does not have to be the enemy. What is the enemy is when poverty turns into toxic stress. Stress, mom has stress so far over her head, she can't even pick up her child. It's too much, too much. So she holds the child away from her. And we saw that at our Gospel Cafe ministry. And we realized families were in deep trouble. The children were there, but if they were a baby, they were carried in a carrier, but you had status if mom allowed you to hold the carrier. But as we watched, no one was looking into the baby's face, talking to baby, responding to baby. We had a whole bookshelf for kids. Moms would look at us like we were crazy when we handed them a book to read to a child because they had so much stress they just couldn't do it. So they'd throw the book down, baby would cry, we'd sit down and read the book. But it took us a long time, Anne, to realize these parents are stressed out of the limit and they really can't do what we're suggesting. And it is a point of judgment to say that they're wrong by their behavior. They're not. We don't blame parents. Our parents just getting a child to the door by 8:30, picking them up by 5:30 is a big thing. So, yes, it's trauma, and it's trauma to the brain. The youngest child in the family, baby, if there's a baby, the youngest child in the family has the most damage to their brain when toxic stress takes over and there are violent situations around them, yelling, something loud happens, something catastrophic happens. Harvard Center for the Developing Child could show us inside that brain, and they said it is the youngest member of the family that is the most damaged by those events. And so the brain is not forming the way your children's brain formed because the stress sends adrenaline into their brain, cortisol shoots into the brain, snip, snip, snip. The neural pathways that are trying to form that you use for a lifetime are broken. Harvard Center for the Developing Child also said, we are sending children into public school with no brain architecture that's going to work. It's broken. It is so broken they will not learn, they will not succeed. And so when you look at scores from public schools, never think, oh, what's wrong with the school? What's wrong
with the teachers?
Teachers.
Yeah.
We don't blame teachers. The truth is, I know teachers who have had a classroom of 22, and if I ask them, how many of those children are trauma affected? They will say 8. And if you have 8 out of 22, depending on whether their stress response system is stuck at fight, flight, or freeze, you'll have this going off. And then when one goes off, another and another, it's like dominoes. But we are as concerned when we look at that classroom of the little girl who has her head down. You only see the top of her head. She doesn't make friends. She doesn't give answers. She never raises her hand. Teachers end up saying, well, don't worry about Maria. She's quiet. She's scary, and she's frozen. Frozen children, we've had them come to Talitha Koum at 9 weeks. And a frozen child, in their entire being, they know they need to disappear. So they don't wake up. They would lie there asleep all day. We had one that barely woke up to eat. We had to act as if. We picked him up. We said, oh, you're hungry. Let's have something to eat. Oh, you must be uncomfortable. We're going to change your diaper. Took 3 months before he gave anyone eye contact because he was so shut down. We didn't learn till later that he had come home from the hospital to some really tragic situations that were violent and loud. And he decided to disappear. He'd be safe if he disappeared. And one of the things I love about Talitha Koum is that what we know is that if we are not safe every time, if we're not safe, then we're not to be trusted and children will back away. So we hire teachers who have the patience of Job, which is not me, by the way. They wouldn't let me in a classroom. But it is so incredibly calm and safe for those children. And safety is the only way you can form a relationship. A relationship leads to allowing the child to interact with you and have activities that you want them to do. But if you don't have a relationship, it's not going anywhere. But their brains need to be built on activities that build the brain, and that's not cognitive learning in your prefrontal cortex. We want them to end up here by the time they go to kindergarten. If you can stay in your prefrontal cortex, you can process language and you can learn. And it's also where executive function happens. So if a child comes running up to another child and their stress response system goes off and they think, this is a threat, they're apt to put fist in face if their stress response system is flattened. But if they have executive functioning like you do, they would be startled but think, oh, is he okay? Is he going to hurt me? They've got some cushion to consider, is this a threat or not? But so many children go to public school who have their stress response system is flattened. It starts hardwiring in your brain when you're 4 months old.
Very young.
You have nothing to do with it. You had the luck to be in a home where you were safe and secure, where people came when you cried, where you were fed when you were hungry. Not all children have that. And I know there are folks in Waco that don't see that we have deep poverty here, but we do. At one point, a couple of years ago, 33% of our children under 5 were poor. very poor. And Talitha Koum takes those who are extremely poor or very poor, and what we're looking for is how much stress is this home enduring? If they're enduring a great deal of toxic stress, these are the children we want. And the other children we want are the ones who've been kicked out of 3 child care centers. Those are our kids. We want those children. And unfortunately, it takes time to get kicked out of 3, so we're not getting them at birth, which is where we want them. If we get them at 8 weeks in, by the time they're 4, they can fly out our door and go to pre-K and public school, and they have a neural pathway built for learning. They have executive functioning. They can make it. They can succeed. If we get them late, we're backpedaling as fast as we can so that they're ready by the time they're 5. We often will ask a parent, oh, we got Susie late. I wonder, would you let her stay another year? And if mom says, oh, I really want her on the public school bus, which is a big help, then we say, oh, we'll hold Susie's place for 3 months. And if she needs to come back, or you want her to come back, we'll be here.
Yeah. Well, those spots, though, are pretty precious.
Yes, well,
because you have a very long waiting list.
75 all the time.
70-something kids.
Yeah.
And you're tiny babies that are really getting. So how many can you accommodate at Talitha Koum?
30 on Clay Avenue, and soon 30 on Bishop Drive.
That's the big news.
That is big news. We were in the process of raising $2.5 million to build another facility on our property, and we had gotten to $1.5 million raised or pledged, and then Lakeshore Baptist Church came calling and said, our child care center is now empty, and we don't want to run a child care center anymore. We want a turnkey program, and how much better if it's a Christian ministry. So we looked at it and said, wow, this means we stop raising money for a building, which was going to take up a lot of our nice outdoor space on Clay Avenue. You know, it used to be the Gonzales Boys Club, and then it was the Gonzales Boys and Girls Club. And a real lovely thing about the transition to Talitha Koum is that the Boys Club was where so many children in that neighborhood felt safe. And we still have men, mostly men, come to the front door and say, could I just stand in the gym for a minute? And they're tentative, but they so want to stand in the gym. I've walked in the gym with many of them and just stood there, and they're so surprised we didn't take down their scoreboard. Right. We didn't take down those, what do you call them, where the hoops are on either end. Yeah. We didn't take them down, and they're not too pretty because they're old, but it helps them feel like they really were back home. And one of them came in one day and he said, you know, this is the address I gave at my public school. When they said, where do you live? I gave 1311 Clay Avenue. And that is also how our children end up feeling about Talitha Koum, even though they may only be there through 5. We had a teenager call from Dallas last year, and he wanted to talk to our Nurture Center director, Donna. She was so shocked. She got on the phone. She said, we'll call him Robbie. Robbie, how are you? He said, Miss Donna, I just wanted to know you were there. I wanted to know Talitha Koum was still there. Yes, because it was his safe place, and he had had a huge traumatic event. You can have not just toxic stress, but you can have complex stress, which is worse, which means the hits keep coming. But you can have complex stress after one incident. And this child had been so happy till he was 2, And his mother's boyfriend was very upset with him, took his belt off, and beat him. And it changed him utterly overnight. And it took us 3 years to get him back. And there he was calling from Dallas just to see if his safe place was still there. So it's phenomenal to me that I don't remember. Do you? I remember kindergarten just a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't remember those things, but I think our kids do.
Yeah. Oh, the impact you have had. And I know you've got success stories since
sure.
this has been around now a couple of
Yes.
decades.
Yes.
And so we want to talk more
Yeah.
about that. But in the meantime, we'll be right back after these messages.
Our school systems were set up on the idea that the brain would develop the way it was going to develop. There was nothing that you could do about it. Neuroscience came along and proved that, yes, the brain does develop in certain ways, but it's experience dependent. Every connection happens based on an experience, whether it's a good experience or a negative experience.
The nature of poverty, the chaotic, stressful nature, is such that it is harmful to brain development in many cases.
At home, a trauma-affected child may have parents that are so stressed out that the stress becomes toxic. In that toxic stress, most things don't happen the same way day after day.
Children have this ingrained desire within them to learn, to create, to explore. What's important for us is to create an environment that is conducive to that exploration.
We are quite different from childcare. Our job is to do the kind of brain development that enables a trauma-affected child to be self-regulating, able to stay in their chair in the classroom, in kindergarten, and learn. At Talitha Koum, every child has a routine, and it's developed for them so that sequential experiences are a part of their life. When they come in the door here, they have a chair with their name on it. It is always in the very same place. Their cot is always in the same place. Everything here says to them, we are safe, we're stable, we have a routine.
It turns out that one of the things that the brain really likes is patterned rhythmic activities. If you watch little children when they play, they roll around on the ground, they jump up and down, they hang upside down. We used to think that that was just childish behavior. Now we know that the brain is actually compelling children to move their bodies in certain ways.
We also focused on the conflict resolution piece, which we call problem solving. We come in very calmly. Between them.
All throughout these children's lives, they're going to have to solve conflicts. And it's so important that they can begin right now.
Hundreds and hundreds of children in Waco are from these families and from these difficult situations where they end up in school and they're suspended again and again. We want to see that stop, and the way we stop it is to send a child to school able to self-regulate, ready to learn.
We would love to have you come to Talitha Koum.
I want you to see children who are being affected by this program.
I think what we do here is special, and I think that we do it with special children. And seeing and smiling with them in and of itself is enough of a reason to come.
In the ancient Aramaic, Jesus said the words, Talitha Koum, my child, rise up.
This is the Sonos Arc Ultra, and this is what you need to know about. It represents one of the easiest ways to get into high quality home cinema without loads of cables and faffing around. And that's because the Arc Ultra provides full Dolby Atmos without any rear speakers thanks to its sound motion technology. And Sonos is actually calling sound motion one of the most significant breakthroughs in audio engineering in nearly 100 years. It's an amazing setup, it sounds absolutely fantastic. I love the absence of fat. If you're a Sonos person, there's a reason you're watching this video.
I am so impressed with the long-term success that Talitha Koum Institute has had in the lives of these precious kiddos. Stay with us. We've got music ahead with Chris Colunga. The Ann Harder Show will be back.
Let's unbox the all-new Walking Pad X21. It is the hottest thing on the fitness market right now. Whew. I like it. I like it a lot. Well done, Walking Pad. So after using the Walking Pad, I absolutely loved it. For the price, I adore it. I highly recommend it.
What a wonderful, touching message that we get from what's happening at Talitha Koum. I love this quote: if there is no appropriate early intervention, neural connections become impaired in ways that last a lifetime. So you're changing lives in this early childhood intervention that's happening there.
Right.
Not on one campus, but two.
And when people talk about our scalability, it's not that we can scale fast, and it's not that we can scale to hundreds unless we have the money and the space, and space given to you is an option, but it's the scalability is the generational change. Mm-hmm. One child becoming, through the generations, 100 children who have a whole different view of life because mom or dad had Talitha Koum, which is already happening. We've had several second-generation babies come our way, and it's a little like they have a legacy.
Yeah,
So
really.
if their mom went through Talitha Koum and she were to have a child, we give them priority. We allow them to be there. And they look really different. And I have permission to tell my own mentee's story.
Okay, please.
She came when she was 18 months old. The day we opened, she was there. And then I became her mentor when she was in first grade, her Talitha Koum mentor. And that's kindergarten to college. It's kind of like having another child in your family, but they don't live with you. They live at home where mom loves them. But she became the leading point guard at Waco High because in the third grade, she whispered to me, I think I might like basketball. And she was tiny. And nobody probably was hearing that, but I thought, well, we better hear that. So we put her in Upward, put her in Kim Mulkey Camp. Long story short, her high school track coach came walking through the basketball gym, saw her leap high in the air, and said, oh, she's a triple jumper. Well, we didn't even know what triple jump was.
Right.
And she didn't want to do it, but her mother said, oh, yes, you will. And she did, and she held state for a nanosecond, but who was there but the track coach at Stephen F. Austin offered her a full ride scholarship that day. And she took it, and she graduated a couple of years ago in December with a degree in Child and Family Studies. And she is now, took her first professional job at Methodist Children's Home, and she's now a caseworker at Family Abuse Center. Really? And very professional. And we have her daughter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah.
and her daughter is a delight. And she will be a track star herself, it appears. Both her parents, very athletic. But it's a lovely thing to see how the whole family has come along and moved into the life they really wanted. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you don't know how to get there. And you need so much confidence, so much courage, and so much encouragement. So we are a 2-generation program, meaning We work with parents and we work with their children. The family partner comes alongside parents not to say, well, you need a job, you need a better job, you need a better income. No, we say, what goal would you like to set? What would be wonderful for you if you could meet that goal? And they dream whatever they dream, and then our family partner, Kyle Knighton, comes alongside, works with them to show them the way if they're a little lost. We don't do for them what they can do for themselves, but we help them. And that's a lovely thing to see. So if you can bring that toxic stress in the home down, even by a parent acquiring a tire for the car that gets them to work and back.
Yeah. It can be a simple thing.
Yes.
But it's a huge thing.
It's huge.
In their lives.
Yes.
Right. Right. I love the fact that over the years, universities have been involved with what's going on there and the data and the research. I mean, this is very much founded on research.
Yes, it is. And we married faith to neuroscience. And that's been incredibly change-oriented. Neuroscience is growing every year. We're learning more and more about the brain, and it affects our work. So at one point, we decided we were going to follow Dr. Bruce Perry. He founded Child Trauma Academy. He certified our occupational therapist in the neurosequential model in therapeutics. We do a brain map on each child every birthday, and the brain map shows from the brain stem up through the limbic system all the way to the prefrontal cortex. It shows every aspect of the brain that those control. And we start, and it shows you a typical child who's living in safe, secure environment. So it shows you their brain map and your child's brain map, and you see the differences. We start at the lowest point where there is healing needed or development of the brain. So if a 2-year-old comes to us and the brain map shows that child is not regulating their own temperature in their brain, we start there. Because you cannot talk to the prefrontal cortex and change all this infrastructure below it that supports the prefrontal cortex. It's all under here. So our occupational therapist, who is also one of our founders, Carol Salveson, she calls it, we're filling the Swiss cheese holes in the brain. And they're just, you picture it. And you can see it when a child, she's taught us so much about how do you watch for the Swiss cheese holes? Well, here's a 3-year-old who ought to be on the trike, moving it with his feet. And a teacher will say during clinical supervision, he should be, but all he'll do is push his friend. Friend will get on the trike and he'll push him. And she'll work. Let's get a wagon and fill it with cinder blocks. Put him behind it. Oh my goodness, he wants to push. Your whole body knows what it needs, but it can't say what it needs, not at 3 years old, but you can see it. So she puts him behind this wagon. That child will push and push and push until he fills the Swiss cheese hole. Then he'll hop on his trike and go. Yeah. But it looks like magic. Some teachers say, gosh, that was magic. We say, no, that was neuroscience, not magic.
Well, so much research has happened up to now, and you have been able to provide, pictures of this, of how it really has this impact on a child's life and on a family's life. You mentioned you had a waiting list of 75 now with the opening of the new campus at Lakeshore Baptist Church. You still have a waiting list, though, don't you?
Yes. Oh, we will. Yeah. We will always, because agencies in town that want to send children to us kind of have given up calling because the wait list was always so long. We were very often saying, I'm so sorry. we can't take that child. But every now and then, Compassion Ministries will call or CareNet will call. And last year, we took 3 of their children that they were sending because we did have an opening. But we will always have probably a wait list of 75 because our county is so desperate for childcare of any kind. And childcares have closed, and there is a dearth of childcare of any quality. And every now and then, we know something has closed because we have a glut of people on our wait list calling. So the wait list will always be long, and we would like to do so much more. But we are not a cheap program. And the parents are, if they have child care services, we might get $18 a day on a child. But I'm telling you, we would do it for nothing.
Right. This has been a ministry, as you say. It has been such an amazing work that you've done. You've got a lot of partners, though, in the community. Wonderful.
We do. Yes, many. And Baylor is a significant partner. Mm-hmm. Lots of volunteers, lots of people who come and say, I want to learn from you. Can I be in a classroom 2 hours a week? Can I come Saturday mornings and help any way I can? That they have been phenomenal for us, and they're mostly sent from child and family studies, psychology, social work, but we're more and more moving towards occupational therapy folks. We've had a capstone doctoral student with us, which was great. But Ann, the other thing we're excited about are people who would like to replicate what we do or would like to add to their program to be able to say they're doing what we do.
Right.
So we've had visitors from Nashville, Uganda, Fredericksburg, and next Monday, a group from Nacogdoches who has purchased a school building themselves, and they want to build it from the ground up on Talitha Koum as a ministry to their children in Nacogdoches and Lufkin. And the odd thing is, the founder was with me 6 years ago for a tour. When his son was volunteering from Baylor, he brought the donuts, and he said, where am I? What is this? And I said, would you like to see it? He's an attorney. And he said, oh, yes, I'd like to see it. So I gave him the full tour. And he said, someday I'll be back to replicate what you're doing because we need it so badly. 6 years went by, I hadn't heard from him at all. He calls me and says, Susan, I bought a building. And he bought a school. And he said, I'm ready. And they're coming Monday. You never know.
That's got to make you feel so wonderful.
Well, yes. And that this would be too hard. I used to say, oh, we were 4 women without a dime. I don't say that anymore.
No.
I say, truth is, if God hasn't called you to this, if that is not what's going to keep you on the path, if you're not that strongly dedicated, don't do it. It will be too hard. It is hard. But God did call us to it. And often when we were terrified or thought we didn't know what we were doing or what we would do next, it was the call that held us, absolutely held us. We knew that we had been called to serve the least of these and give them our very best. And that was all we knew. We had to just put one foot in front of the other and figure it out.
Knew there was a need.
Yes.
Saw it.
Yeah.
Said, I'll do something, Lord. What do we do next? Of course, you, a wonderful marketing executive, had Cowley Associates, marketing for 30 years. But you've been involved with Talitha Koum, as I said at the beginning, from the very start in 1998. But in 2015, that changed, right?
Yes. Well, we had lost our executive director, and for 18 months, the Covenant Partners, who are our governing body, said, but you act like you are. Why don't you take the job?
Yeah, why don't you do it?
And I kept saying, no, God has all God wants from me. Well, that was a lie. And so finally one day, after 18 months, my spiritual director was in the room, and she said, what are you resisting? And we believe resistance is a mark of call because it is so big, you will resist it. And within 5 minutes, I was the executive director because I knew.
Yeah.
I knew instantly that my resistance was the only thing standing in the way. And they said, well, please do it for 1 year. It's been 10.
I was going to say, you just had your 10th anniversary.
Yes, it's been 10.
Yeah. I'm so proud to know you, Susan, though.
Oh,
I mean, I've watched this over the many years we've known each other and seen the amazing work.
Yeah.
And your just passion for these
I am.
kids. I mean, it truly is.
Yeah. Yeah. I really would. We would have done it for nothing.
Yeah.
If we hadn't had anyone to come alongside, but many people have. People say, where do you get all this funding? 74% of it comes from people who live here.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So,
Well, and then you have a fundraiser.
Yes,
Usually,
yes.
which is my child, Rise Up.
Yeah.
yeah, Talitha Koum, Rise Up. Yes, it's over the years, you bring in some amazing speakers like Bob
Yes.
Goff. Back in I think 2019, I think he was here, and several other. LaDainian Tomlinson, didn't he?
Yes,
he spoke
LaDainian.
at one. I remember him.
and Michael Orr.
Oh,
came.
yes, Michael Orr.
From the Blind Side movie.
That's right. I was just
Yeah.
thinking over the years how great that is. But it is important that you have that community support and financially, because it is not an inexpensive.
If they come to take a tour.
Yeah.
We love that. So if all they need to do is email there's email addresses all over the website. There's even a box that says, do you want a tour? Tours are the best. And we
Yeah,
give
it
them
is.
to 45 at a time or one. We really don't care if it's one person who wants a tour, because we don't know what's to come from anyone, and we have no expectation. Our hands are wide open. We have no expectation of what will happen after we give a tour. But they can also visit our website and learn more than they want to know. There's so
It's a
much
fabulous
there.
website. No,
There's
it's
so much there.
Yeah, there is. There is so much to know about all the programs that you have. But the bottom line is, you're changing lives. You're saving lives, really, with these children.
I think a brain is fabulous. It's an amazing organism up here that just drives so much of your life. And to have it functional for an entire lifetime is such a gift. You can't, and when you're watching it, Anne, birth to 5, you don't realize how incremental the changes are. We've had teachers say, is anything happening here?
Yeah.
We say, trust the process, keep the faith, keep going.
Yeah.
But a brain is such a beautiful thing to give.
Well, I'm honored that you spent some time with me here today. Thank you so
Anne.
much.
Thank you for having me.
you. Yeah.
Yes.
Susan Cowley, Talitha Koum Institute. We'll be right back.
Concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns and expand access to pet care. Book your first appointment today.
With over 50 years in the industry, Arriva Hospitality Group has been delighting guests with unforgettable experiences across Mexico. Our investors enjoy trust and impressive returns, while our guests, whether on vacation or business, keep coming back for more fun and memories. At Arriva Hospitality Group, we are looking for investors who share our dream of making people happy while our investments grow. Take a closer look at arrivahotels.mx.
I just got my Colgate Advanced LED Whitening Treatment in the mail, and I am very excited to have dramatically whiter teeth in just 10 days. My teeth are going to be 6 shades whiter. The treatment is enamel safe and hassle-free. It's even designed for my sensitive teeth. Let's open it up. Inside we have the blue light whitening device. It's a charger for after-age treatment as well. There's a full 10-day supply, and it looks easy to apply. Order yours today at shop.colgate.com.
Hi, my name's Erica, and today I'm going to be taking you through my skincare routine using the Tasmanian Spring Water range from Sand & Sky. This range is really good for dry and dehydrated skin like myself. It's packed with 2 types of hyaluronic acid and fermented sea kelp to reduce redness and irritation, which I experience daily. So that's it. It's so quick and so easy, and my skin feels so dewy and so hydrated.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, there's the biggest fool of all. I bet you could second guess. All you gotta do is reflect. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Well, this just can't be it all. Have I taken things too far and shattered her heart? Mirror, mirror on the wall. I can't see the world she's been dreaming. Is there a red Chevy and her leaving? So mirror, mirror on the wall, show me her in the early fall, back when her eyes ran deep with all the love for me. Mirror, mirror on the wall. I can't see the world she's been dreaming, yeah. Oh, 'cause all that I've seen is that old red Chevy and her leaving. So mirror, mirror on the wall, could you be my crystal ball? Do I get her or am I the fool who stares too long at the mirror on the wall? Yeah, thank you.
Natural Cycles identifies your fertile window by analyzing changes in your temperature. It's the first FDA-cleared birth control app. No hormones, no side effects, and 93% effective with typical use, and 98% effective with perfect use. Just measure in the morning, add your temperature into the app, then learn which days you can and cannot get pregnant. It's that easy. Learn more at naturalcycles.com.
Join us tomorrow when we learn about the amazing work of the Salvation Army here in Waco, as we've seen with the disasters in Texas and New Mexico, how important the Salvation Army is. We'll also hear about the upcoming Temple Civic Theater production of Matilda. So you have a great day.